What's up, everybody, and happy holidays. Eric Balnar here for our last In the Slot episode of 2021. It's been a crazy year of hockey. You get to see a lot of the players that are on the ice, the star players, your Jake Rileys, your Daniel Chens from the weekend, Jeremy Friedrich. We hear from those people a lot, but there's a whole team behind the team, and we're letting people know about them today. So In the Slot is a very special episode. We've got what's your official role, Brett Sinclair? The head trainer of the team?
I'm going to say head trainer. Head trainer on Tuesday nights.
Head trainer on Tuesday nights.
Yep.
At Pump Gym. Yep. The guy that's leading the off-ice.
That's me.
For the team, the stars on there. Stu Henley, the assistant coach of the Extreme, and Jared Cook, the assistant coach of the Brewers. Boys, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Look, we're going to get into all that off-ice roles, but we have to do our, your Sports Center recap of what happened in the last game to let all the good people know that obviously already know what's going on. But here's a look at how this last game went. It was the Extreme versus the Stars. The winner goes to first place. Opening the scoring was Jordan Geyer. Nice pass from Jared Siemens on this. Siemens had a hell of a game, actually.
He really did. He stepped up for us when we needed, and our captain was down. I thought he was fantastic.
They had a 2-0 lead, and then Zach Steele found Johan Levesque, who now leads the league in points. He had 3 points in that last game, but the Extreme came back with the not before this goal. Is this the best goal of the season? Maybe.
I don't think so, but no, just kidding. It was a fantastic goal.
You brought a tear to my eye seeing that. Yeah. Look at that guy right there.
I think the best part for me was just that Daniel Chen undress his brother Andrew. You can see it on there. Was Andrew happy about that on the bench after?
He seemed a little upset after that, but he worked hard to correct it after that.
Jeremy Friedrich actually played a really good game. He made that big poke check in the second to keep things alive, and then 2 goals in 2 shifts. The first from Dean Peterson and then Noah Maley. My goodness. It's a shame that he doesn't get an assist for this because it goes a few places all over, but he set it up, Noah Maley. That was an awesome setup from Noah. He played an awesome game even though he wasn't really on that score sheet. Jake Riley scored a nice goal, but a 4-3 win for the Extreme in the end. And what was the feeling of the Extreme before the game when you found out you weren't having your captain, Joey McDougall, playing, and then after the game?
Before the game, we were really focused on trying to just come up with a better effort defensively than we had against the Brewers.
That 7-6 shootout.
7-6 shootout is, great for the fans. I was told by so many people how much they loved it, but as far as from a coaching standpoint, it was just something we needed to fix. And so we worked hard in the week leading up in training and made sure that we got back reacquainted with our systems and our principles and put those in place. So before the game, we were looking to really correct those things and be ready to go.
I don't think you can really replace, that skill and the intensity that Joey would bring to a lineup anywheres, but he's out of the lineup, so guys are going to have to step up to try to fill that void. I think he said off camera, the money ball approach. Who are a couple of the people that you needed to step up in place of what Joey brought to the team? That's
right. Well, we were so fortunate to be able to draft the number of centers that we did in the draft before the season started. So we were able to go with Noah Maley and Jared Siemens down the middle and move them as well. And then Nat was still there, Nat Benson. So we're really lucky to have him as well.
So Jared Siemens, he started off obviously playing on that line with Noah and Joey. He hasn't played on that line the last couple games. It's hard to call it a third line. You can maybe call it the Jared Siemens line. I don't know what you call it, but what has Jared been bringing to the team?
Jared's been fantastic. He's a quiet leader. I can see the highlight there, unbelievable passer. He takes care of everything that we ask him to in the defensive zone. As well, and he's also a great penalty killer, and he works on the power play as well, and we've even had to have him fill in on defense when we went down a couple of D earlier in the season, so he's kind of an all-rounder for us.
I love to see guys like that are adjusting their roles there, but you said something interesting, Stu, about how the 7-6 game between your Brewers, Jared, and the Extreme was a great game for the fans, and a great win for the Brewers in a game that they needed to win. But from the fans were all saying, yeah, it was a great game. But every one of the coaches I talked to were like, oh, wow, that was some things could be cleaned up maybe a little bit. Was that kind of the vibe as well for the Brewers?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was obviously we opened and then, you answered straight back and then we went again. And I guess we never really got the breathing room we would like, and Extreme never stopped coming. So it was just always adjusting and what do we need to do to get that breathing room to get them off our back a little bit. But it was a nail biter for us on the bench for sure.
Well, there's been some really good games, and let's take a look at the scoring leaders so far because we've had some big performances. Johan Levesque has chipped in 2 points or 3 points, whatever it is, almost every game. So it's kind of all tallied up to 8 points. near the top. Zach Boyle, he's got a perfect game or a perfect season going on right now. 4 goals, no assists from defense too.
Yeah.
Mateusz Trinka actually has more assists than Zach Boyle. That's a fun fact. And Boyle, obviously 4 goals. That's pretty handy. Ollie Martin, a goal a game. Were you expecting Ollie to chip in a goal a game?
Maybe not a goal a game. We knew he'd
Because you play with him in A.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a solid contributor, a great shooter, but we didn't know we'd get quite this. But he has approached the season like a true professional, and it's showing out there.
He's always in the right spot. He's just always always there, just to put it away.
Yeah, I think it's his time as a former elite level goaltender that he just reads the play so well, and it's just been a huge benefit for him and for us.
Kind of scary to think about what if he was never trained as a goalie and just like a skater the whole time and like.
Well, something I'd love to know is when did he work on his shot? So if he was always a goalie, when was he working on that shot he's got? It must have been something off on the side.
Yeah, and he knows where to put the puck. But anyways, the standings. Let's take a look at this going into the break. Extreme at the top, 6 points. Brewers at 4, Stars at 3. Everybody's still very much in it, but it makes, especially that next game between the Brewers and the Stars when we come back from the break, really important because the winner of that game is going to have a chance to take the shot at the Extreme to go back to first place. So there's going to be some really important games early in January. We can't wait to see it, but we're at the halfway mark. We got a 3-way break. We can kind of pause, reset, reflect, and I'm looking forward to that. So let's start with you, Brett.
Yeah.
Off ice with the Stars. Way back in October, it feels like a millennium ago now. Like that feels so long ago. It was just in October when we were meeting in the draft. Teams draft the players. They say, yep, now you're about to get a new experience you've never had before. You're training a couple times on, you're on the ice off. So what do you do? How do you get players into shape for a hockey season?
At the moment, we're doing a lot of HIIT training. So we get the whole team in. We go as hard as we can for about an hour or 45 minutes. And pretty much they leave in tears. So last week, Jake Riley, he was going that hard that he had to take a sit down. So they do try very, very hard. So at the moment, we're doing a lot of plyometrics, so a lot of like jumping, sprints, high knees, just everything to get them moving. And I think it's the best training for them at the moment because they're not looking to be bodybuilders at this point. However, Johan, on the other hand,
Levesque,
he might be a bodybuilder. He goes above and beyond everything I ask him to do. He makes me, he might just be the better coach at the end of the day because he is that good at any of the exercises that I ask him to do. It brings me to tears. Like jump squats, he'll go get like a weight and then add it to jump squats and you think, Jesus, this guy, man, he's unreal. He is definitely a leader of the team. What I see from my perspective, that he's just a good leader and he's someone to look up to. So if anyone's ever struggling, you think, just look at Johan. Like he's going above and beyond, and then you can really see it affects the whole team. And yeah, we really all just go hard. We go full gas for the whole time, and then after we'll sit down for like an hour and just talk. But great chemistry throughout the whole team. You can tell they're all good friends. Even Johan just being a new guy, he comes in, cracks a few jokes, and then he goes home. I don't even know where he goes, but he's always there.
Not here.
always at every training. Always the first one there, last to leave. Yeah, real star in my eyes. Same with Jake. Jake's a massive part of it. He's always there. And yeah, so we're really just doing hard HIIT trainings. We do a nice warm up and a cool down beforehand and after. And that's our approach to kind of preparing them for the team.
Why hard hit or that high intensity training rather than an alternative, I suppose?
Well, I used to do a little bit of hockey just for fun, and the way it kind of worked was intervals. So you'd go on the ice, go as hard as you can, then you'd hop off. And I just wanted to bring that to their training, so they go as hard as they can for like 45 seconds. They'll have a short break, and then they'll just continue for, let's say, 10 sets, and then they'll get a drink break. So you're kind of putting it into their head that you just got to work, but at the end of it, you get a break. And one of the best things I like to say is when you fatigue, just focus on your form. And you can notice that on the ice, because when they're starting to fatigue, they're still being good players. They're not doing backflips or any silly stuff. They're really focusing on what's right. And you can see that, and then they hop off, they have their break, and then they come back on, which is great to see. But yeah, that's what I think. I
feel like for the better here, the storyline of the 60-minute game time of 20 minutes stop, which was an adjustment, has become less of a story as the game's gone on. But was that, across all the teams here, you as a trainer and you guys as assistant coaches, was that a concern entering the season? Like, okay, guys are now going to have to play 2.5 hours, maybe 3, like in that opening game. How are they going to go with their fitness throughout the game? Was that a concern for people?
It's something we were definitely aware of because it was so different for, even with the AIHL guys, it had been a couple years since that season had been on, so we knew that we were going to have to really make sure that the conditioning was there, and I think that's why Tash went out and got our strength and conditioning partner in Sean Baker from Peak Conditioning, and really made sure that we had the facility to put the boys through the paces and make sure their fitness got up. And I think it's shown for us, but also the other 2 teams as well.
Yeah, same for us. Like, we were obviously concerned. We knew we could get there, but it was how we approached it differently, and the guys knew what it would do to them physically and how much extra effort they were going to have to put in to get the game done. And a lot of focus comes back to recovery from that point as well, to make sure they're getting the recovery and the wind down that they need post-game.
Have you noticed a fitness improvement from the guys from October 1st?
Definitely. From their first session with me, wasn't as much weight, and you could tell that by the end of like the 45 seconds, they just wanted the break. But now you can see they're going for 3 or 4 sets, full gas, and they're going hard, and you can definitely tell because they're also doing stuff in their own time. So even though we do 1 session a week, they still go out after, do a run, do a beach session on Monday, and they're really putting in the effort. And you can definitely tell that that's building up, and it's definitely going up. It's not going down, so it's good. Definitely, yeah.
So do you have individual plans for certain players?
Well, we did for Glenn because he was doing a recovery.
With his knee, yeah.
So yeah, he was coming in a few days of the week after work and just doing like some slow recovery work. However, as a team, we just do a warm-up, so a 10-minute dynamic warm-up where we're getting our body moving, getting the heart rate up, hockey specific. And then at the end, we do a nice cool down and just chat, and then just kind of run through what they should be doing before and after the games and how that will affect them during the games, the right length warm-ups, and not going too hard before they start. So when they start, they're on the game. That's pretty much where we're going at this point in time, just really perfecting everyone's kind of warm-ups and cool-downs, and then just when we are all together, we just go hard. That's the plan at the moment, but not quite specific. We just do it as a group approach.
Just as that adjustment period starting to work, and I think for everybody it's been there too, and I'm sure it's been an adjustment period even from the coaching side of things. So on the broadcast, we talk about, head coach Mitch Villani this, Sammy Mantier this, Eric Lean this, the lines in there, but you guys are on the bench too, you're at all the training. So what is the role of an assistant coach? What does the assistant coach do? Give me that.
For us, I guess my job is to work with Eric very closely as far as practice plans, game day routines, or I guess our systems and what we're going to employ against each team and each game. And I'll put in my 2 cents, and ultimately the decision's up to him on what we move forward with. And specifically, my role on the team is I'll work with the defense, and I work on the penalty kill as well, and I also do the video work too. So.
A few things on the list.
There's a few things there, but it pales in comparison to what Eric has to do as well.
Mine's very similar to Stu's. Like, I have a defensive focus on game day. During practice, I kind of know what each player has as kind of a focal point to the game, what they know they need to improve on, be it kind of positioning, be it moving their feet, edge work. And I kind of just put a focus and make sure I'm pulling players aside and saying, hey, you said you were going to work on this. You're not quite doing it, or you're crushing it, kind of thing, while Mitch is focusing on that gameplay style, putting out the drills, putting out the breakouts. So I guess I've got more of an individual focus, while Mitch has got that overarching kind of message.
And how much video work do you use when you're, do you use the stream to your advantage, or?
We sure do, yeah. We kind of wait for that to come out the next morning after a game on Saturdays, and
excited for it to.
It really is, because it's so hard. You guys probably find it's hard to see from the bench.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of bodies on those benches. It's hard to get front position.
Really hard to see, and then you don't see it as well. So when that video comes out, then you start picking at things and going, that was great, or that needs a little bit of work, or that wasn't what we were asking for, and we start to go through like that. So. The video work that you guys do for us is just really, really valuable.
So how do you communicate that stuff? Like if you had a defenseman that was having a great game, or both, either way, whatever it is, how do you communicate little things or things that you might pick up on during a game to the team? Is it in person? Is it over a group chat, or how does that work?
What we do is I'll put the video together. I always try and keep it to 15 minutes. I haven't even gotten close to that even once. So it's been about 22 to 24 minutes each
TV
time.
show.
Yeah, and then we have a private YouTube channel. So I'll just send the link out to Tash. She sends it to a group, and they can watch and ask questions at our meeting on Wednesdays.
We're not quite high tech as that approach. We kind of go through individually. Sometimes it's optional to watch the game back. Sometimes it's mandatory depending on what kind of panned out. But yeah, Mitch will kind of go through and just skip to certain points in the game, and we'll watch a play and discuss it, be it positive, be it negative, be it a discussion. That's how we use it. But you're right, without that video, it would be a different approach for everyone. So yeah, it's magic.
And Stu, what's your background? Like, how did you get involved with the Extreme, and what were you doing before?
Oh, well, with the Extreme, I got a call from Eric Lean in, I think it was September, and he said, I'm going to be part of this new exciting pro league here in Adelaide, and I'm coaching. I was like, geez, that sounds great, congrats. And he said, Tash Ferrier is going to be the GM. And I was like, okay, great. And then he told me who the marquee players were, and Joey and Jeremy. And I was like, geez, you guys are going to be great. And he's like, well, how would you like to be the assistant coach? And I thought, oh man, like sounds like a great opportunity, but it'd be a lot of work. And so I thought about it overnight and checked with my wife, obviously, and just decided to get involved after that. I said for sure, and I haven't regretted it for a moment since. It's been great. And
has there been like an adjustment period at all in terms of your own coaching background to now being like, okay, now you're running things a bit differently?
Oh yeah, so I've coached for a lot of years, 7 years in local junior hockey here for Ice Hockey SA, which I love.
Yeah.
Before that, I was involved in Adelaide Summer League, so new players, so adults but very new. So this is by far the highest level I've helped to coach in, and it's been a huge adjustment because they're not just players, they're athletes, and I'm sure you guys agree with that as well. Like they bring a lot to the table, have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of background, so it's a very different approach, but rewarding.
And has there been something that maybe you've thought like, oh wow, I was not expecting this, or a big learning or takeaway that you've got from this adjustment? You say athletes, like, can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, just their approach. So our team, and I'm sure the other two teams are like this as well, they're very professional in their approach with what they're doing, and their knowledge from the hockey they've played before. So you don't have to tell them the basics, really you have to tell them, like they want to know, what did I do wrong? More than they want to know, what did I do right? And being able to tell them something that they don't know is a real skill that I think I've had to learn. I don't know if I'm there yet, but that's something I've had to learn.
And what about you, Brett? Have you trained with like a professional sports team before?
Oh, definitely not to this level. I normally just do HIIT trainings during the week with some others. So it was definitely a new approach to me, but just qualifying this year to be a personal trainer was definitely a massive step up in my career, and it's the direction that I want to go. It's just been so much they definitely enjoy my style of training, which is high intensity. It's always going, that coming along to a professional sports team, it makes me feel like a professional at sometimes. You think, wow, they're really taking this feedback on that I'm giving them, and it is showing improvements in their everyday, pretty much everything. So their core, their legs has been a massive focus for me, and to give them that advice and them taking it and then seeing it on the big screen, hearing the crowd when they score, it just makes me feel like a part of it, which is massive for me, which is something that I definitely want to go forward with in the future. So hopefully we can carry the boys to victory, and that's the plan, yeah.
And have you had to make an adjustment on some of this stuff as well that you've kind of learned along the last few months?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of the way we go with what we do want weights with and what we want body weight. The boys definitely excel with all the body weight stuff. Like they're moving everywhere, they're jumping around, they're doing everything. So they're definitely mobile as far as they came, but now we're going with the strength, and now we're definitely getting their cardio to the level that they can survive those long matches. And it's definitely showing that it is working, but they're having their protein shakes, they actually do want to focus on what we're giving them outside of their own time, which is also great, which is going on what he said, is they are taking the pro approach to things. They're not just going, nah. They do want to learn it and they do want to do it, and then when they come, they go as hard as they can, and it is a good thing to see, especially from my perspective. As I said, I just got qualified this year. It's been such a great start to my career, thanks to Justin and Michael Boyle, the two big men. So letting me do this has just been, definitely massive for me, massive.
I guess it is an opportunity for people to have new roles and get adjusted. Like Stu, obviously operating at this level of coaching before you, Brett with the training. But Jared, how about you? How did you get involved with the NHSL? What was that conversation like, and what was your background compared to the step to where you're at now?
Yeah, so I spent some time in St. Albert in Canada, and I actually fell backwards into helping coach a junior C team over there, which was quite fun, rewarding, same kind of thing. The guys are really bought into it. It's suits and tie and jackets to the games. Guys are carded, and it is a big deal. And then coming back to Australia hockey, we don't have that same kind of approach all year round. So when NHSL got started, I was like, oh, that's really cool, exciting. And then I saw kind of the approach to the draft, the GM announcement. I saw like the Extreme sitting around the table at the draft, and it's all like suit, tie. I was like, oh man, this is going to be something special. And then I've worked with Mitch Filani and Steve Best throughout my years in inline back in SA. So kind of reached out to them. I was like, it'd be really cool if you have, if you need any help at all. Like, this is kind of like my background. I'm not sure if you're looking for anyone. And they just kind of said, what can you bring? What did you do in that team? I just kind of listed it out, and Mitch was like, yep, I need that. Welcome aboard. So yeah, pretty excited to be back with Steve and Mitch, but Zach Boyle is their marquee. Like I said, I'm defensive minded as well. I spent my time on the junior C team as a defensive coach as well. So working alongside him is pretty special to me, because he's a great defenseman, and saw the points before. Yeah, he's a great player.
And what adjustments have you had to make even in your own learnings on this journey?
I'm going to say that the bench setup is a bit harder to deal with, because you can't see a lot. You can't see guys' numbers. A lot of my time on the junior C, they've kind of got like a 2-bench system. The coach stands at the back.
Yeah,
and
that.
out,
Oh, yeah.
You can pace back and forth, and you can see your numbers, and you can easily get to the head coach to say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with, like Buddy's hurt or whatever. You can't do that down there.
No.
So there's a lot of times that, I've had Mitch send a guy down like Harley, who's a great two-way player for us, like, hey, he's now joining you, and you're like, okay, I don't have time to check with Mitch what he wants. I'll piece it together and off we go. So that's an adjustment for me. It sounds trivial, but for guys
Is it chaos on the bench?
Oh
sometimes?
yeah, like I don't think that's trivial at all. If you're trying to match lines, and you can't see who's coming from the other team because you're looking through your whole squad and the other team, it can be chaos. Plus we have our physio Steve, who's on the bench. People running up and down the bench. Eric wants to know something. I want to know something. Yeah, it's
second
chaos.
goalie.
Yeah, second goalie's there, exactly.
Because the benches are quite close together, so can you sometimes hear what the other team and players are kind of saying or chirping? Obviously, you're focused on yourself. I get that, but like it's close proximity.
Not a whole lot. Like, I'm not really looking too bad. I might see if a player's losing is cool and be like, okay, yeah, that guy's coming off his game a little bit. I'll take a mental note. But other than that, it happens so fast down there. It's not a lot of time.
Yeah,
to
I don't
check.
hear a lot between, like in the second period, the defense are close to each other between the teams, and I'll be down the other team's end, and I can hear a little bit, but nothing. It's not like I'm getting secrets from it or anything. It's almost more of a distraction at times.
And how do you guys handle bringing in interstate players? Obviously, the Extreme brought in Jamie Woodman, kind of flew him in for game played. Jaden Ryan's flew in for a couple games. Harley Anderson flew in. So how do you try to integrate an interstate player into the roster?
For us, obviously, we'd love to have them at both training sessions during the week and all that kind of stuff, but that's not possible. So for us, the two guys have access to our training schedule, both on ice and off ice. We trust that they're following and reading along with that. And then I guess they come up for warm-up and you put them in the lineup where you think they'll fit. But it's up to Mitch to assess that quickly, and if he's comfortable with that choice that he made, or do we switch it up? And luckily, I think both Jade and Harley are very universal. They can play first line, second line. Harley can play D or forward. So there's a lot of options and where to plug them in. So I think that's well drafted by Mitch and Bill.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a strategy as well with the draft, is we weren't sure how fly in, fly out players would work with the group that we planned to draft. So we took Jamie Woodman last just in case, and obviously that worked out well. But we were
He's
able.
a bit of a different player.
Yeah,
too,
he's a little bit
yeah.
different, so he gets different set of circumstances there. But with our other two interstate players in Xander and Espo, they've come over and they've found accommodation. They're living, so they're a bit like Yohan and Tom Sack as well. So we haven't had to deal with the in and out of the lineup too much with them.
Well, boys, we're running out of time here, so I want to leave things on a positive as we head into the next year. Using your own role, your background, what you bring to the team, how do you think this league so far has benefited the players to make hockey even better in South Australia as we head into 2022? We'll start with you, Brett. Fitness side of things. Let's go.
Yeah, so going next year, the boys have shown massive interest in boxing because we also offer boxing at the gym, but we just don't know how that's going to translate on the ice. So we haven't offered it yet. However, next year they might go into it for the fitness side of things. But yeah, we're definitely cautious on it. But next year, still going on with what we're doing, and then just they're enjoying it. They're really just enjoying themselves, and they love obviously getting the crowd going wild. So yeah, going next year, we'll just see how everything goes, and I think it's definitely improved their confidence as players as they've been selected as professional athletes. So they know now their potential, and it's definitely showing on the ice, definitely.
What about you, Stu? What's that thing about the league that's impressed you the most so far?
Oh, I think we kind of touched on it a bit, but the professionalism of the guys. Like, if you think about, yes, they're pro players in this league, but they also have day jobs they have to go to, and no one leaves anything on the ice. Like, you might have noticed in our celebration at the end of the game, it wasn't rah, rah, rah in our last game. Everyone's, they're banged up, bruised up. They left everything on the ice, and they have work the next day or the next week. I've just been so impressed by not just our guys, but the guys on the other teams and how hard they go in the professional approach.
Yeah, same for me. I think all players are benefiting hugely from that training session twice a week. And so that's a massive benefit to these guys, that it's the structure it's bringing as a league is pretty special. And then the professionalism is out of this world for what we've seen out of South Australian hockey, and even to the point of like Extreme did the toy drive, the Brewers Extreme game, which is awesome as well. So hats off to you guys for that approach. That's pretty special too.
Well, we were just so appreciative of the support of the other two teams as well. I mean, Yohan Levesque kind of stands out in my mind from the Stars. He brought the toys and was taking pictures with the kids, and he's really given back since he's been here. I know he's on the broadcast as well, and I think it was Strawbridge as well brought some toys from your team, and we appreciate it a lot. It was great.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate you boys stopping by for a bit of a chat of what looks behind the scenes. The next game is not until the 14th. Tickets are on sale now. Brewers versus the Stars. That's like the winner of that is in a final spot. I know a lot can change because everyone's got 4 games to go on the break, but I'm sure everyone's going to be raring to go for that one.
Yeah, the boys have got some marching orders for the break, so they're going to stick to that schedule, and got some team bonding sessions in there too. So yeah, we'll be ready to go for
Actually, that's a good point. Just quickly, so how do you look at the fitness side of things, knowing that Christmas breaks come in? There's usually some unhealthy non-pro athlete habits that might slip in there.
So we're definitely not offering them alcohol or anything like that. But just because of the fact that they know what's coming up, they're definitely not going out doing ridiculous things. They're definitely sticking to the training, and then training hard motivates them to eat better. All of the things fitness related, they just enjoy it. Obviously, they got to enjoy themselves outside of the
Christmas,
ice,
baby.
but we hope that they don't go too far, and then but they're doing well. They're doing well, and I think it's definitely going to translate off the ice that during the Christmas break, Christmas dinner, they'll be doing push-ups there. They won't be doing anything else.
But there's still work to do, right? Because Stu, I know you like the Extreme have 2 trainings this week, and they don't play for a month.
Yeah, that's right. We just want to keep the guys into it, and we'll get serious after Christmas, but we just want to have a couple of good sessions this week and make sure we don't lose that fitness.
Well, until then, Merry Christmas to all of you guys. Merry Christmas to everybody at home. Enjoy the holiday. We can't wait to see you on the 14th. We're taking a few weeks hiatus from the In the Slot show too, but we'll be back with the broadcast, a preview show before that, Stars versus Brewers. It's been a fun 2021. Can't wait to see you in 2022.